And so we come to the final of the Melrose Cup, the World Cup Sevens final. Fiji against South Africa. The wonderful Fijians, whose rugby has been quite scintillating. Tupe Twinkavi, who scored 6 tries in this tournament. Naya Tiaga, Koroi, Vasali Serevi, the captain, the king of sevens. 9 tries he scored in this tournament. Manasa Mbari, who plays his rugby for Otago in the Super 12s in New Zealand. Luka Erenvalu and Marika Bunimbaka, who scored 4 tries in the semi-final against Western Samoa. Andre Venter at 1 for South Africa. Peter Rousseau, Bobby Skinstad, who himself has scored 6 tries. Andre Sneeman, the Northern Transvaal centre. Joost van der Westhuizen, the captain. Stephen Brink, 8 tries in this tournament. And Jacques Olivier with Graham Bower, Drayton Polser and Jeffrey Stevens to sit on the bench to start. This is going to be one of the great finals. Fiji, who have been quite magnificent, and South Africa, who disposed of New Zealand in quite the most emphatic fashion in the semi-final.
They certainly did, and I guess in a lot of ways it's good, particularly for this crowd at Hong Kong. We're seeing a new face actually play the final. In past years it's been dominated by New Zealand and Fiji, but as Alan said, the best thing that impressed me about the South African effort in that game against New Zealand was their defence. They marked up man for man, and it's rare that you see a Kiwi side without many options. They were really didn't have any idea which way to go, left or right, and that came down to good defence by the South African players.
This means so much to South Africa. South Africa, who were swept aside by New Zealand just recently in their home country, and they beat New Zealand. That was a big scalp, but now this, they're on the world stage, they're in the final of the World Cup Sevens, and look at that for the venue. Hong Kong, these are pictures that are going all over the world, and South Africa know they're very much, they are the world champions. They won the World Cup in their own country in 1995, and now 2 years later they're in the final of the World Cup Sevens.
The Hong Kong football stadium is a magnificent venue, and this will be a very emotional sign for both sides, particularly Serevi. He's been here, he's led the way on many occasions when Fiji have won.
And Steve Lander of England has been given the responsibility to take charge of this final. Vasili Serevi, twice man of the tournament in Hong Kong, and the man who makes so many things happen for Fiji, Joost van der Westhuizen, the captain. And here we go, Venter, up he goes, two-handed. Van der Westhuizen collared by Irena Vula, and these Fijians, they make their tackles, they make their weight count so much.
What the Fijians are good at, they make everything look so easy, so it's important that the South Africans put a lot of pressure when they've got the ball.
It's Andre Sneeman who was caught in possession there, the man who made his debut for the Springboks against South Africa in the recent Test series. Andre Venter. On this side of the scrum for South Africa is Bobby Skinstad, the Western Province flanker. This scrummage just inside South Africa's 22. And they're jostling for supremacy. And Steve Lander of England is making sure that it's a correct scrummage. And Serevi tackled now with Bunimbaka. Bunimbaka is going to make it. No, a despairing tackle by Jacques Olivier. That was a wonderful tackle by the South African winger.
It certainly was great defence, and that's what you got to do against the Fijians. If you miss tackles, they'll score tries.
Serevi getting the ball back inside, and this is the man who scored 4 in the semi-final against Western Samoa, and that really was a try-saving tackle by Olivier. Venter at the bottom of that ruck. Olivier. Rousseau to Brink. Olivier has got plenty of pace. Sneeman over the halfway line. Brink again. The referee allows play to go on. This could be a great start for South Africa. Venter chased all the way by Twinkabi, but it's South Africa who score first in the final.
What a fabulous start of South Africa. Superb support, good running. What a start. That's exactly what they needed. The Fijians play with a lot of confidence, and it's important to be physical in defence and to score the first try. Again, magnificent support. There are a number of South African players there. Westhausen threw it out, and a magnificent effort.
This is the man who's won 8 successive test caps for his country. From the Orange Free State, he's fast, he's big, and he's a tremendous player for this South African side. Stephen Brink with the conversion attempt, and he's made it. Great kick from him. Another man from the Free State in only his second Hong Kong tournament. It's Brink and Venter who make South Africa 7 points to 0 ahead.
And that made the try. Brink got a one-handed pass away, and it really opened up the park and gave South Africa the room that they needed.
Sneeman to Rousseau. Rousseau with 2 players out left. If he could have got the pass in. Skinstad. Still. Oh, he's just taken it. Venter again. He doesn't see the man outside. He's got there himself. Andre Venter with his second try in a minute and his 7th in the tournament. And this is a dramatic start for South Africa. Fiji are on the back foot. Who would have thought it?
What's impressed me is the ball handling skills of the South Africans. They've picked up at least 2 of those balls on their bootlaces. Fabulous work. And Venter scoring his 2nd try of the final.
There'll be a huge audience in South Africa watching this. They know how important this is to them. World champions. And can they make it a double by being Sevens champions? And it's all going their way at the moment. Stephen Brink makes it a 2nd successful conversion. It's now 14 points to 0 and coming up to 5 minutes gone in the final.
I'm impressed by the quality of the South African side. They're going to try and revenge the 2x7s when Fiji beat South Africa really convincingly. And great pick up for a big man. Absolutely superb ball skills.
But now back come Fiji. Not yet. The referee pulls them back.
What South Africa can't do now is let Fiji come back into the game. They've got to bustle them in defence. They've got to come up, obviously limit space and try and upset them and knock them off their game.
Van der Westhuizen. It's had a fairly quiet tournament. I wonder if he's just kept all his energy in reserve for this, the final. Finds a good touch.
At the end of the day, that was probably a little bit lucky by Westhausen. One thing you don't do against these guys is kick possession away. They're very, very good at counter-attack. They get back, they support well, and if you kick, you've got to really, really chase.
It's just 5 meters from Fiji's goal line. Could be Twinkabi with the throw-in. Must be good. It is good. Terrific rugby from Fiji. That was so cleverly executed. Twinkabi again. A little bit of lifting. It's legal, of course. If it's done technically correctly. Will it come back on the South African side?
You don't normally see lifting in the lineup, particularly when there's only 2 men, but it is one way of securing possession.
7 minutes gone. South Africa lead Fiji in the final of the World Cup Sevens by 14 points to 0. 2 tries from Andre Venter. And Fiji yet really got started. It's all been South Africa. But now here they come. Irena Balabula, Serevi. Well, the impetus must surely come from Serevi, who's been here so many times before. Karoy now, the kick ahead. Back goes Van der Westhuizen. Van der Westhuizen against Manasseh Mbari. And the South African wins it. That is fabulous play from him.
Sensational play.
This is amazing. Stephen Brink has picked it up from Van der Westhuizen inside his 22, and Serevi puts a shoulder charge in.
Well, the quality of play is obviously deserving in the final. There's been great attacking by the Fijians, and again, terrific counter-attacking by the South African team.
That's the shoulder charge from Serevi, and Serevi still has the ball. On now to Marika Wunimbaka. Wunimbaka is going to outstrip Jacques Olivier, and Fiji have struck back. That is a glorious try. The 12th try for Wunimbaka in this tournament. He is simply in fabulous form. 4 in the semi-final and now 1 in the final.
Well, obviously it'll be a dangerous play for the South Africans. Olivier is not slow. One-on-one, he couldn't keep up. So whenever this man gets the ball, South Africa will have to get up very, very quick and make sure he doesn't get that gap.
Well, the South Africans will know all about Wunimbaka. He scored a hat-trick against them in the Dubai qualifier, and they simply must not give him space. What a sight that is. Nine minutes gone, a minute to go to half-time, and Fiji back in it. It's 14-7 to South Africa. Van der Westhuizen with a piece of his repertoire that he is so good at, the little chip ahead and the gather. Not that time, just a little nudge and it's a knock-on, and this could be an important scrummage.
Van der Westhuizen is really playing a lot. He's getting involved in this game. We saw yesterday and probably on Friday, he took it nice and easy, but he'll dominate this game.
Seconds ticking away, and South Africa having to make their tackles count. That's Manasseh Mbari down. Rousseau is in there. Penalty, South Africa. Rousseau. To Skinstad. To Venter. Bundled down by Naitiaga. Still on the South African side. No, they've been penalised. Serevi gets things going again for Fiji. Good tackle by Olivier. Fiji on the attack. Manasseh Mbari taken into touch by Peter Rousseau. And the Western Province fullback bringing off another very good tackle.
A great tackle by Rousseau. Firstly, flew through the air to make sure that the Fijian player went into touch, and that brings the first half to an end.
And what the first 10 minutes in the final. 14-7, South Africa lead. They got off to a storming start, Mark.
Well, they certainly dominated, and that's what you've got to do against the Fijian side. You've got to take them on, you've got to bustle them and really limit their space. But the Fijians, there's still 10 minutes to go. They're only 7 points behind. There's a lot of rugby left in this game yet.
Barbie Sneeman in there. South African coach. Joost van der Westhuizen, the captain, getting his orders. 28 caps for his country, scored 13 tries in those 28 international test matches. One of the great try-scoring scrum halves. And Fiji, so often the winners here in Hong Kong, but this is now the world stage. This is the World Cup final.
Fiji will have to lift their play up another couple of gears. They've been cruising so far. They've been cruising right throughout the tournament. And in fact, they've probably worked with disadvantage. The South Africans, what they've got to do is obviously keep their composure, limit the space of the Fijians, put them under pressure, and just control the ball. They can certainly win this game.
sure if he had to conduct a poll around the ground, which at the moment is just dancing and singing to music during the half-time interval, but would they support the Fijians, who they've seen for so many years here, or would they go for the South Africans, the newcomers who have really set new standards, or has matched the standards set by Fiji all these years?
I think both sides are very, very popular. The South Africans are new into the, I guess, the world of sevens. They've done extremely well, and I think they'll get the support. Fiji are traditionally crowd favourites, and this is a great game. I think the crowd are appreciating it.
We're ready to go. It's called the Melrose Cup Final. It's the World Cup Final. South Africa against Fiji. A half-time score of 14-7 to the South Africans. Stephen Brink from the Orange Free State. His second Hong Kong tournament. That's just about made the 10 yards, the 10 metres, but now it's Fiji who take possession. Maetiaga comes back inside. Kuroi. Snyman tackled high, 2 high tackles around the neck against the South African centre. Olivier and Fiji have not retreated the 10 metres. Back they come. Olivier again. The flip pass inside to Bobby Skinstad. Maetiaga out to Serevi. Serevi must not give him room. The ball has actually hit the back of the referee.
Serevi is not making the commitment that I expect. He's not trying to go through. He's not trying to commit himself. And in fact, he's throwing more passes backwards than actually setting up his players. He's got to do a lot more work.
South Africa are to make a substitution. Jacques Olivier, the man from Pretoria, makes way for Brayton Polser, another Western Province player, just 20 years of age, and made his debut for South Africa on the recent tour to Argentina, France and Wales, and scored 4 tries on his first outing for South Africa in Argentina. Serevi though, Serevi trying to break through, taken down by Fenter. Standing out wide is Bunimbaka, trying to run around the diminutive Polser. Stands there, back inside to Tunkabi. This is Fiji at their greatest. Iranavula makes it a second score for Fiji. His 5th try of the tournament. And the Fijians are gathering momentum ominously and dangerously for the Springboks.
That's one of the best tries you're ever going to see, particularly in a World Cup final. Absolutely superb skills from the Fijian side. The South Africans, they were there in numbers. They did make the tackles, but the support from the Fijians was far too good. And again, superb support play. The South Africans, to their credit, they were there, but the Fijians, just terrific players.
Well, this is the man who plays his rugby for counties in New Zealand with the great Jonah Lomu. How about those for 2 players in your side?
I'd certainly like to play with players of that height, skill, and certainly pace.
Graham Bower has come on for Andre Snyman. Graham Bower wearing 4. Fiji win the line-out, but Fenter was the first man down on the ball. It's all square at 14 points apiece. South Africa raced into a 14-0 lead. Back came Fiji. 3.5 minutes gone. Crowd is chanting for Fiji. Great tackle from Rousseau, but he's free. Mansara Mbari is free, and now Marika Bunimbaka. No, he's just ankle tapped. Fenter is the first one there. Now it's a try. Fiji have gone ahead of South Africa. The South African defence has been so good during this tournament, but not here.
It certainly has. In sevens rugby doesn't get much better than this. This is superb play from both teams. Again, Vinambaku was there, but good support play. And the South Africans, again, were there in numbers, but just not able to control the ball. Again, Vinambaku was tackled, or ankle tackled, but the Fijian players were there in support, and a great try.
And it's Lemeki Koroi who scored the try, the man who gave the support to Bunimbaka. And Serevi missed the conversion, but it's Fiji in the lead by 19 points to 14, but back comes South Africa. Polsa with a forward pass. Referee will play advantage. Serevi picks it up with Van der Westhuizen in front of him. 3 Fijians now against 2 South Africans. This is tremendous play. Iranabula onto Koroi again. Can Koroi get there? Yes. Lemeki Koroi scored 2 tries in a minute. Sensational play by the Fijians.
Also will be reviewing that pass through. You just can't lose control of the ball against these guys. They're just too good. Koroi got the ball with open space and raced to the corner. South Africa have got to have more control of the football.
Koroi with his 8th try in this World Cup Championship. And Serevi misses the conversion, but South Africa are now 10 points adrift. This is the Melrose Cup. And Fiji, with rugby like this, are getting ever closer to putting their hands on it.
It was a great effort. What South Africa have got to do is got to score, and score very, very quickly.
Brink now. He's got plenty of pace, but he's scragged by Masimbari. Just about 3 minutes left. Lekele has come on for the try hero for Fiji, Lemeki Koroi. That's him, Lekele. Now Serevi, who's had a quiet final. Serevi, and that's a lovely pass out to Mayatayaga. And he's lost it in the tackle. That's gone forward. It's South Africa's ball. And it's just a little bit tense there. Miniasi Naitiaga.
I think he was a little bit over enthusiastic and really played the man rather than the ball.
Well, Joris van der Westhuizen so often finds himself at the hands of some big flankers or big forwards, because that's the type of rugby player he is. He's a scavenger for possession, and he's such a dangerous player. He's the man they like to nail, and he's been cut here, and the referee Steve Lander is insisting that that cut is cleaned up.
Yep, he'll definitely have to come off the field. Well, I would have thought he'd have to come off the field and go in the blood bin.
Well, he's letting him stay on. Just 2 minutes to go. Van der Westhuizen inside to Graham Boa. Fenter now holding on to it. Back it comes, but a loose Fiji hand belonging to Zupe Twinkabe puts it into touch, and that is not from the correct spot, so they'll have to take that again. Captain of the South African Sevens side, Joris van der Westhuizen. That's nicely played in the line-out. Graham Boa Strong turns. Fiji penalised for impinging on the 10 metres. Van der Westhuizen tries to go through the gap himself. Fairly high tackle from Iranavula. South Africa pressing for the score they so need. Fiji almost getting offside at the maul.
South Africa will be a little bit frantic at the moment. There's less than 1 minute to go. They've got to score. I doubt whether there'll be time actually for the restart.
Van der Westhuizen, Rousseau brings in Stephen Brink, and Brink is going to clear through and score under the posts. He'll take the conversion immediately. And still there's time for South Africa here.
South Africa racing back to obviously kick off straight away. There's 10 seconds to go.
Nice play this by Peter Rousseau. And Stephen Brink, who's had a tremendous tournament. It's 24-21. South Africa trail by 3 points. The 10 minutes are up. Ball must stay with the men in green, but it's a white scrimmage. Fiji's put into the scrum. Anxious faces on the South African bench.
The ball goes straight back to Serevi, and I've got no doubt in the world that he'll put the ball into touch.
Been one of the great finals.
It certainly has. And South Africa have to win this ball.
Fijian supporters whistling in the stands. They want the referee to call an end to it. It's hoofed into touch. Joos van der Westhuizen asks the referee, is there any time left? No, he says, the whistle is gone. And Fiji are the World Sevens champions, beating South Africa in the final in Hong Kong by 24 points to 21. Dramatic scenes here with Fiji, the world champions, the most wonderful final. Crying with passion, crying with happiness. It's been a draining final, it's been a draining tournament. 3 days of the highest caliber sevens rugby. And Fiji deserved winners. South Africa knocked out their great rivals New Zealand in the final, but they couldn't make it one last hurdle. The world champions in 1995, the 15-man game, and they couldn't quite add the sevens title to that great honour.
The South Africans played extremely well, and whilst they didn't win the Melrose Cup, they can hold their heads up high. They did extremely well. They've come into this competition. As Alan said, they've knocked out New Zealand, and they've really added a new dimension to World Sevens rugby.
Some of the most dramatic scenes you'll see on any rugby ground in the world. And it's unique here in Hong Kong. Joos van der Westhuizen congratulates Vasily Serevi, his opposite number, captain of the Fijians. The swapping of jerseys. The South Africans, worthy finalists after eliminating New Zealand, after disposing of France in the quarterfinals. Fiji, all the way through this tournament, have been rattling up enormous scores, running in tries from vast distances. Strong, dynamic players like Bunimpaka, Iranavula, and of course the captain himself, Vasily Serevi. No one could take away what this man has done, not just for sevens rugby, but for all brands of rugby. I think he wants to sing a song now as well. There's a Frank Sinatra number called My Way. Might well be apt here for Serevi.
Serevi is easily one of the world's greatest sevens players. He's led his side to a magnificent victory. he'd be very, very happy.
The Right Honourable Chris Patten, Governor of Hong Kong, and rather nostalgically and historically, his term of office will come to an end in a couple of months' time, the end of June, and coinciding with this year, the year of the World Cup Sevens, as Serevi sits on top of the world, and for all you know, maybe talking to the world, but he's the king of sevens, and his side are the world champions. South Africa can hold their heads high. They can walk up the steps to take their losers' medals. They did everything they could, but they would have to admit that on the day, the Fijians were the better side. Vernon Pugh, who is chairman of the International Rugby Board, and Leo Williams, chairman of Rugby World Cup Limited, will present these Melrose Cup medals, along, of course, with a handshake from Chris Patten. This has been a great final. It's been a wonderful tournament. That's Bobby Skinstad, the Western Province man, looking back and looking out onto dramatic scenes as South Africa and Fiji stand together and thank the crowd. And Serevi is soaking it all up. He's on the screen, he's on the big stage. He is the king of sevens. He is a wonderful advert for the game, and there are children here of all ages, and if they can watch that man play rugby, then they won't go far wrong. Darby Snyman, the South African coach, may be a shade disappointed, but you only learn from tournaments like this. You only learn from playing against the Fijians.
Well, the Fijians are sevens experts, and the South Africans will benefit next year when they come up to play in the Hong Kong Sevens. One thing you need in this tournament is experience, and Serevi, look at him, he's loving it. A great player and a great captain.
Well, it is really apt that Vasily Serevi, man of the tournament in years gone by here in Hong Kong, and now it's on the world stage. He will lift the Melrose Cup. Vasily Serevi shakes the hand of the Rugby World Cup organisers. Vernon Pugh, chairman of the International Board. Fiji, the World Cup Sevens champions. The captain, Vasily Serevi. People of Hong Kong have put on a wonderful tournament here. They can feel proud of all the efforts they put in, and it culminated into one of the great finals.
I would have to agree with that. Both sides should be congratulated. It was a very, very good final. Easily one of the best I've ever seen. It's particularly important for a small nation like Fiji's. They're having a little bit of trouble with their 15-a-side game, but certainly they've made an art of 7-a-side rugby.
That's the great try scorer, Marika Vunimbaka. And the Melrose Cup, held tightly, held aloft, held proudly. Vanessa Mbari. The Fijians can smile, they can look back on a fabulous job. They win friends all over the world for the brand of rugby they play. It's the brand of rugby that makes the game itself the great game. And South Africa certainly responded to that challenge. They were the ones who raced into the lead. They took a 14-point lead, but then it was just a matter of time. You felt that the Fijians came back. The South Africans waved goodbye to the applauding crowds. It was a wonderful scenes, memorable scenes. The winners, Fiji. with the white jerseys and a few more green and gold in there as well. And suddenly they win all manner of Fijian friends.